Hello everyone, today we will be implementing include isolated directive in Katana. If you don't know what that is, it is a library that allows you to run Blade in any PHP project. To implement the directive, we will need to modify the compiler, which converts Blade into PHP, runtime, which makes the directive work the way it should, and then implement some tests. All this makes this video a great way to explore internals of the library. We will be using test-driven development, wherein first we will write tests, then implementation to satisfy the test, before moving on to the next thing. We will be building it one step at a time. Oh, fun fact, while implementing the feature, we wrote more test code than the actual implementation code. So let's dive in. Test 1. Does it work? Our first test will determine if the directive compiles and does the very basic thing of including the subview and rendering its output. All the tests we will be writing throughout the video will follow the same two steps. 1. Setup. Create the Blade file with some code which we will use in the directive. Second, verification. We will attempt to verify the output by rendering the newly created temporary view. Let's run the test. We will only run the test file we're working on using the test docs format to get a nice checklist. Boop, and it fails. Good. Let's try to fix that. Looking at the output, we can see that the directive is not compiling, which means our engine is not able to recognize it and is passing it through as is, which means we need to register it in the engine. Luckily, all our internal directives are defined in compile add rules file. Let's jump into that and make some changes. Because include isolated is very similar to include directive, we will reuse the include directive logic for now, rename the method, remembering the goal is just to satisfy the tests. Running the test again, it passes. Let's move on to the next one. Test 2. It should not pass parent context. One of the requirements of include isolated is that it should not receive variables which are defined in the parent view. In this test, we'll continue to follow the same structure by creating a temporary view with a variable inside to verify data passing and set a default value to output in case the variable is not defined to avoid any runtime errors thrown by PHP. Then we will attempt to verify the output, but this time we will pass additional view data to see if it's passed down to the subview. Okay. It passes. That means we have made some mistake. Our implementation is not working as it should. The pass name should be something else other than kitty, and now it fails, which is good, which means that data is not being passed down, which means the data is being passed down, which is something we don't want. Now let's jump into the compiler and remove the method which passes data. Boom, it works. Final test. Does it passes explicit data? One of the requirements of the directive is to pass everything to the subview, whatever we ask it explicitly. We'll follow the same test structure, create a template, verify the output by running it. Let's try running the tests again. And it works. Let me clean that up and run the full test suite again to make sure we haven't introduced any regressions. Perfect, everything else is working as expected and we have finished a feature. Alright, while I attempt to clean this up in the background for the PR, please feel free to subscribe and try the library out in your PHP project and send me some feedback. And I will see you next time.